Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. If any of you guys have been following this story, I did an initial story about this attorney who was a public defender in Orange County. He's a very prominent young man who is a public defender in Orange County, and he and his wife were celebrating their 1-year anniversary in Mexico to celebrate and enjoy their time in Mexico. Well, guys, it's time that we really need to talk about the dangers of Mexico. There has been some updates in this case, and I have to say it's very alarming about what the allegations are at hand and some of the cover-ups that Mexico is doing to try to cover up this possible murder, guys. Yes, possible murder. It's so sad. So in summary, before I get into the details, I'm going to read an article to you. We're going to watch some videos about what's going on. The allegations are that Elliot had a wonderful night of dancing with his wife, celebrating the anniversary with her, and they were dancing at a nice little location. Then they make their way back to their hotel room. During that time, Elliot, he gets his pajamas on, ready to unwind, get in the bed, and his wife, she goes to take a shower. This is what the allegations are. The wife says she takes a shower, and Elliot, he lets his wife know he's going to go out and try to scare off some pigeons because there were some pigeons that were kind of making a lot of noise, being burdensome. However, when she comes out of that bathroom, he's fallen from the balcony. It has been alleged that she was told by the authorities that Elliot was shot in the head, guys. That he was shot in the head. And now Mexico is trying to do this cover up. They retracted that statement. Now they're claiming that Elliot was intoxicated. He was really drunk and he just fell from the balcony. They're trying to tarnish this man's name now. They even went through the extra effort of trying to tell the parents, try to encourage the parents to basically have this man cremated so that they can cover up the fact that this guy was shot in the head, allegedly. This is terrible, guys, what they're doing. And then further, they wanted to do some testing on his body to see, okay, you said he was intoxicated, which is not consistent with who he is, because there's actually a person who works with him who did an interview recently, which I'll play for you, who states that Elliot's not the type of person to get drunk. Now, we talked about before that some lawyers have drinking issues, but this is not the type of lawyer that has those drinking issues, according to people who know him. And his wife states that he was not intoxicated at the time. He was still quite sober. So again, there has been this repeated pattern of the authorities. Anytime a person dies in Mexico, even their own citizens themselves, when women are unalived in Mexico, they always say alcohol poisoning. And I actually played a video for you before of when they were talking about different women in Mexico who were being unalived. The authorities always tried to make an excuse saying, oh, it's alcohol poisoning. And so now they're trying to claim that this man was drunk when in reality, and in my opinion, based upon what the wife is saying, that he was shot in the head, and they're trying to cover it up by getting him cremated. This is so horrific, guys. And a lot of people don't realize that there has been warnings released. There has been warnings released by the U.S. officials that have warned people not to travel to Mexico. And people don't look at this. This was last updated, a travel advisory. There was a Mexico travel advisory that was issued October 5th, 2022, just a couple months ago. And it said reissued with updates to health information. It says see state summaries and advisory levels below for information on your specific travel destination. Some areas of Mexico have increased risk of crime and kidnapping. Now, the area where Elliot was visiting, that was one of those areas that had an increased risk of crime and kidnapping where he was visiting. Although it's a beautiful place, they have exotic hotels, it's a very gorgeous place to celebrate, it's very dangerous to American citizens because of the high rate of kidnapping and crimes. Now, read this country summary, though. This is the part that's really alarming. Violent crimes such as homicide, kidnapping, carjacking, and robbery is widespread and common in Mexico. Do you see that? Like right there, that is a travel.state.gov. Travel.state.gov is literally telling you right there. And I don't know how many times I got to keep warning y'all to not go to Mexico. People thinking I'm just saying stuff. It's right here. The U.S. advisory is saying violent crimes such as homicide. And this is what happened in this case. This man, in my opinion, was killed. And now the Mexican officials are being shady. They retract their statement to the wife, and now they're claiming that, oh, he was drunk and fell. Somebody made sure that he fell so it could cover up the fact that he was shot, allegedly. Okay? So there's a risk of homicide, kidnapping, carjacking, robbery, widespread. Not just in certain areas, it says widespread and common in Mexico. The U.S. government has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in many areas of Mexico, as travel by U.S. government employees to certain areas is prohibited and restricted. Do you see that? Do you see that? The U.S. government employees are even prohibited to travel to those areas. They're not even permitted to go there. So why should you go there if your own American government officials can't go there because of the danger? Think about it. This is a matter of life and death. This man should not have died. This is so horrific what happened to him. And the family is saying that he was allegedly shot in the head, and they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to get this man cremated to cover up what happened to him. That is disgusting. But I can't, when I read the fact that U.S. government officials are prohibited and restricted to go to certain areas, and they said that the U.S. government is saying, we can't protect you. If you go against this travel advisory, that's on you. We can't protect you because even our own government employees can't go to those areas. That's pretty significant. In many states, local emergency services are limited outside the state capital or major cities. So you see that local emergency services are limited outside the state capital and major cities. Guys, I'm gonna keep it real. It's not safe to go to Mexico. It's not. There's plenty of places you could travel across the world that's honestly more safe than Mexico at this time. And the fact that the U.S. issued this travel advisory just almost 2 months ago or 3 months ago should be very telling to you. U.S. citizens are advised to adhere to restrictions on U.S. government employee travel. State-specific restrictions are included in the individual state advisories below. U.S. government employees may not travel between cities after dark, may not hail taxis on the street, or must rely on dispatched vehicles. Included app-based services like Uber. So yeah, Uber in Mexico, it's not safe. Who knows? You might end up ordering an Uber and it be drug cartel or something who's driving the car, and then end up robbing somebody. Okay, it's that dangerous right now. U.S. government employees should avoid traveling alone, especially in remote areas. And they're just talking about government employees, y'all. They're not even talking about, the general U.S. citizens. So if you have them saying these warnings to the employees, how much more should you abide by that as well? Okay, that's serious. They said U.S. government employees may not drive from the U.S.-Mexico border to or from interior parts of Mexico except daytime travel. Wow, except daytime travel, guys, within Baja California. We know about Baja California because that's where Shanquella was. And between Nogales and Hermosa. Wow. Now look at this. These are the places they tell you not to travel. They say do not travel to. These are the areas they say don't travel to these areas. Colima State due to crime and kidnapping. Guerrero State due to crime. Michoacan, I can't say that. Michoacan due to crime and kidnapping. Sinaloa State, crime and kidnapping. This T word, I'm not going to even try. Due to crime and kidnapping. Zacatecas, due to crime and kidnapping. Now, reconsider travel to. They're telling you to reconsider. And look at one of them, Baja California, the number one at top, due to crime and kidnapping. And that's where Shanquella was unalived. So there's going to possibly be a lot of conspiracy over there. Reconsider? They're saying that you really should reconsider. Don't be going over there, okay? Now, these warnings came out before even Shanquella went there. So this was a warning to say you shouldn't go to this place. Y'all need to make sure you look at these travel advisories before you go to certain countries, and don't just assume that every country is safe just because it's a beautiful exotic location. It's dangerous out there, especially for American citizens, because they presume you to be affluent. Just because you come from America, they think you have a lot of money. So you're like a target. There's a target on your back for potential robbery, kidnapping, crimes, especially in Mexico, y'all. I'm telling you, just a lot going on over here. But just look at the various states here, or locations in Mexico. They said exercise increased caution when traveling to. Look at all the different locations in Mexico they have listed. Extreme caution when traveling to these areas. Look how there's so many different locations in Mexico where they're telling you not to go, reconsider traveling, or exercise increased caution when going to these areas. That's scary. And it says exercise normal precautions when traveling to. So you have to be very careful. It says if you decide to travel to Mexico, you want to be hard-headed. Keep traveling companions and family back home informed of your travel plans. Okay. And the thing is, it makes it so hard because, if you pass away, now there's the Mexico cover up. As we can see, they always trying to claim you drunk, y'all. Always claiming you have some alcohol poisoning. That tends to be their go-to reason. And then they want to get you cremated because they don't want people to know what really happens. It's just like, make it make sense. They said exercise. They're telling you a lot of things to do if you do want to go there. I'm just telling you not to go. But one of them says here, exercise increased caution when visiting local bars, nightclubs, and casinos. And one of the areas where Elliot was last at with his wife was at a local nightclub. They were dancing and doing salsa, merengue, all that fun stuff. And who knows if someone didn't follow them back to that hotel, knowing that they're Americans. That's the sad part about it. Do not display signs of wealth, such as wearing expensive watches or jewelry. Be extra vigilant when visiting ATMs or banks. It's not safe over there. It's literally like you're going into a ghost town and you're literally not expecting to get hurt over there. Okay. It's like, and right now the FBI says they can't even do anything about it because it's not their jurisdiction. They're like, well, if Mexico lets us get involved, but we can't do anything. So it's like, see, now it's like you just tied the hands of your own officials that can try to help you because you decided to go to this place. That just ain't it, guys. It's not it. It's not it. The Mexico Travel Advisory, y'all. This is on the U.S. Department of State website, an official website. So I would say look at these websites before you decide to make those travel arrangements. This story, guys, really captivated my heart. And it's like I want to keep track of everything that happened with it because, it could have been any of us going to these areas. And this man, he shouldn't have died. But let's watch these videos, y'all, before we get into the articles. Because we got some articles to talk about. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about with this case.
That's Elliot and Kim Blair on their wedding day just a year ago. But the ecstatic bride is a widow today. Her 33-year-old husband was found dead at the Mexican resort where they were celebrating their first anniversary. Elliot and Kim are both highly regarded public defenders in Orange County, California. They were staying at this resort hotel in Rosarito, Mexico, just 45 miles south of San Diego. Elliot's body was found at 1:45 a.m. in this walkway on January 14th. Mexican authorities call it an unfortunate accident from a fall from a third-story floor.
Yeah, right. Every time I hear that word, unfortunate accident, it enrages me because it's a complete lie. Why do you tell the wife, Kim, that he was shot in the head and then turn around and retract that statement and lie and say this man was drunk and he fell from a balcony? This is just, it's angering me to the core of how they're tarnishing this man's legacy, number one. And number two, you have the audacity to try to hide a crime. And they wanted to hide it because they didn't want it to get out that there's danger in Mexico, which is already out. I mean, clearly the U.S. advisory is to not go over there, period. I'm just saying. They said certain areas, they gave a whole laundry list of areas. But that alone tells me just not to go there, period. Okay? If you got a laundry list of places they say not to go in Mexico, I mean, that's a hint not to go there. But Mexico, they told the truth and they realized, oh shoot, don't tell the truth because then it's going to get out that we're dangerous over here and they're not going to come here. So they're going to have the audacity to retract what they told the wife and turn around and say it's an accident, an unfortunate. How dare you? I'm sorry. Guys, I'm a little emotional.
But his family says it was murder. The family wholeheartedly believes, based on their initial investigation, that Elliot was the victim of a brutal crime, a statement says. Here's Jim Murray.
I'm at the Las Rocas resort where Elliot was found dead. Authorities say he fell from this third-floor walkway. He was wearing a t-shirt and underwear, clothing his family says he slept in. They say Mexican authorities encouraged them to have his body cremated. That would have made a thorough investigation impossible.
Private investigator.
Did you hear that? The shady Mexican authorities talking about have him cremated. Why? Why would you ask such an inhumane thing if they want to have a funeral? That's how you know they were lying. Have them cremated. How dare you elect to make that decision for a family? You don't make any suggestions like that. That's the family's choice. That just everything about this is just making me say I'm permanently just not going to Mexico, because it's like, how could you do that? You took this. There's some, I don't know if it's drug cartel or whoever was involved in this man's murder, but it appears wonder if he was robbed because he went out to go check on some pigeons or whatever, and they probably followed him back to that hotel. You know, he's a fluent American dancing with his wife. You know, he shines at the little Mexican club they had, salsa dancing and merengue. Let's see if I can find that video for you guys of him dancing with his wife. And, you know, after them seeing that, they were probably attracted to whatever money he had, or they thought he had. And when he went outside, he became a target. He must have went outside while she was in the shower or something. I don't know what he did, because she said he was going out to shoo away some birds or whatever. But the wife is saying Mexican authorities said that he had a gunshot wound. So why do you turn around and now you want to retract that statement? That is utterly disgusting. Oh my gosh, this case enraged me. And this now to know, because when we first talked about this case, they said it was an accident, he was drunk, but we didn't really know what was going on. But now I'm hearing he got shot in the head. That's oh God.
Jim Jenks knows Elliot and Kim. Mexican law enforcement is saying he fell from a balcony when he was drunk. Does that sound like Elliot to you?
Not the Elliot I know. Trust me, I've worked with attorneys that are partiers, and if I heard that something like that happened to them, I'd say, okay, I can see that happening. The Elliot I knew and worked with, it just is totally inconsistent.
Rosarito.
Bam, that is what we needed to hear, because in part one of our analysis, you know, a lot of us, we didn't know the details of this man's character. And so a lot of us were asking, we know that the common theme around attorneys is a lot of substance abuse because of the high rate of stress in that career. And I acknowledged that in part one, but what we wanted to know is, what is Elliot's particular characteristics? Does he have a drinking problem? But people are saying that know him, that he's not the type of person to drink. And even the wife acknowledges he wasn't even intoxicated. So why are these officials, Mexican officials, so quick to always say alcohol? They just think that fits the facts, because every time American comes to Mexico, they think that all Americans are going there to party and get drunk. So they think, oh, well, it'll fit the facts, when it's not the case.
Is also the home of the 78-year-old estranged father of Meghan Markle. Elliot's mysterious death came up at the State Department briefing today.
Is there any reason for suspicion of foul play?
We'll support any Mexican investigation. We'll continue to monitor it closely.
Just 3 months ago, the U.S. State Department warned Americans to reconsider travel to this part of Mexico due to crime and kidnapping. But the Blairs...
Did you hear that? Just shortly, they said, do not go to this area because of crime and kidnapping. And Lord and behold, that is exactly, in my opinion, what happened. This man was murdered. He was murdered, in my opinion. That is my opinion. And based upon what the news reports and articles are saying, Mexico's trying to cover it up. Okay. And see, this couple wanted to just go to a beautiful place because it was very tempting. It's very gorgeous. It's exotic. And they thought, oh, let's go here and enjoy ourselves. When I'm sorry, I don't care how beautiful a place looks. Your life is not worth it. Your life can be gone in a quickness, in a flash, in the blink of an eye. Your life can be gone. So let's listen to this other video before I get into the articles about their allegation that he was possibly shot in the head, y'all. Because this took me out. When I heard this, I was like, oh, heck no. Oh, heck to the no.
Was the 33-year-old American lawyer who was celebrating his one-year wedding anniversary in Mexico shot in the head? Elliot Blair was found dead under mysterious circumstances at this popular Mexican resort 45 miles south of San Diego. Mexican authorities have repeatedly said the death was an accident caused when he fell from a third-floor balcony, possibly after a night of drinking. Not so, says the family's attorney, Case Barnett.
Kim was told at the scene by the lead Mexican detective that Elliot had been shot in the head.
Blair and his wife Kim are public.
Exactly. The wife was allegedly told that her husband was shot in the head. So why are they now changing the story, retracting that statement, and trying to pin it on and blame Elliot for his death? That he was intoxicated, that he fell from a balcony. Hogwash. Ugh.
Defenders in Orange County, California. His body was found in this walkway in the early morning hours of January 14th. Since then, there have been conflicting stories on what really happened.
We have witnesses who were there with Elliot earlier in the evening, not long before he fell, who will confirm he wasn't drunk.
The family lawyer said,
Bam, they have witnesses. See, these authorities are lying. These are Mexican officials. I'm going to show you a video on here because I showed you before, but some people are new. So I'm going to show you a video that shows that Mexico has a pattern of constantly pinning alcohol as the blame for women's death in Mexico. So how much more do you think that they're going to try to pin this whole alcohol theory on Americans like they did to Shanquella? They did the same thing to Shanquella, saying she died of alcohol poisoning. Now they're saying this man was drunk when all these witnesses who saw this man said that he was not, because that's not his character. People who know him knows he doesn't do that. And he was in fact getting ready for bed at the time, had his pajamas on and everything. So the whole circumstances doesn't fit what the Mexican officials are saying. They're trying to cover up stuff. They're shady, guys. They're shady and they're immoral and unethical, and people's lives are being taken out. And I don't think you guys should be going there. I'm just saying.
As Kim fell asleep while Elliot was in the shower.
She gets awakened by two of the hotel employees saying, "Ma'am, is that your boyfriend? Is that your boyfriend?" Wakes up, comes out of the bedroom, looks down and sees him. When she runs downstairs, he's lying face down.
Did it appear to Kim that Elliot had been shot?
She was only with him for seconds, if a minute. And so she doesn't know.
And there's another shocking revelation.
Elliot's mother went down, was in Mexico, trying to get Elliot's body at the funeral home. And someone from the funeral home comes out and tells the family that the body's been embalmed.
That now prevents an independent toxicology report.
Can you believe it? They took it upon themselves to embalm this man's body without the consent of the family. That shows cover up right there. Everybody's involved, from the officials to the even individuals at the freaking morgue. They embalmed him because they knew that they wanted to cover up the fact that he was not intoxicated. They could keep pushing this fake lie that he was intoxicated because they have him embalmed, and now it's literally impossible for them to test his body. And the sad part is this man's not going to get any justice because the Mexican officials are going to keep lying and covering up this tragedy and trying to make it look like it's safe there when it is completely not safe. Okay? And they literally embalmed this man to cover up his, now they can't get a toxicity test to really verify this little lie that Mexican officials are saying. Okay? Seriously? They go in and bomb him without the parents' permission? Wow.
The family just released new video of the Blairs dancing at their wedding reception. And there's this heartbreaking video showing them at the resort. Images were also taken the last day Elliot was alive. What's the final hope?
The final hope for the family is they get an answer. They want to know what happened that night and they want the truth.
Well, I think everybody needs to boycott Mexico at this point. That's how you're going to get an answer. Boycott Mexico because it's not safe. It's not, guys. And sorry I had to mute the music because you know how copyright issues on YouTube. They had copyright music on that. But you could see that they were last seen dancing together at a little club. That was where they were. Let me see if I can show you that part again of the video. Hold on, let me back up a little bit to show you where they were. Where they last were here, I'm going to show you. And the witnesses are saying this man was not intoxicated. You can see here, this is the very last moments of him being alive before, while he was out and about with his wife. They were dancing and enjoying themselves at this club. And remember the travel advisory that I read to you. And one of the areas the travel advisory says is, let me go to that part really quick and read it to you again. It says, exercise increased caution when visiting local bars, nightclubs, and casinos. And it looks like, I don't know if this is a club area where they were last seen dancing and enjoying themselves, but they leave, apparently, go to their hotel. He gets pajamas on. Now, I got the facts wrong. According to this video, they're saying that he was the one taking a shower. Kim says she fell asleep. So I don't know what he did after that, but there's going to be a timeline we're going to go over in another video. It's going to break down kind of what the steps of what happened. Because on this video, it appears as though he said he was going to go out and shoo off some pigeons or something. But I feel like maybe they were followed from that club, guys. Because, I mean, there's a lot of just dangerous people out there watching Americans over here. And that is just, oh my gosh, my heart is completely broke that this man's life was taken from him. It should not have happened. You shouldn't have to go out and enjoy. You shouldn't have to go on vacation thinking your life is going to be gone because of some corruption. And then the fact that that country is not willing to advocate for your situation and try to cover it up with alcohol poisoning claims, and then turn around and embalm this man's body to cover up any ability or prevent any ability for officials investigating. And the sad part about this all, guys, is that the American officials can't do anything about it. They have to rely upon the Mexican officials. And so they can't even take any steps unless the Mexican officials permit them to take part in the investigation. That is so sad. This is not a scenario where you have American unaliving another American. It's possibly a Mexican citizen that did this to this man. I mean, we don't know who did it. But I mean, I'm wondering where's the video surveillance, and I'm pretty sure they probably erased all that stuff. It seems like everybody is in conspiracy to cover up this man's death, and this is just so sad, y'all. So sad. Oh my gosh, this case just breaks my heart to the core. So let's look at this other video. I like this other video, guys, because it actually, I wonder if this is what I want to show you guys. It actually kind of goes over a timeline of what actually happened there. Let me see if this is the video, guys. I'm trying to see this. Okay, yeah, there's a timeline, and on the timeline, let me see if I can get to that point. Okay, the timeline of events. It says, according to Mexican authorities, and at this point, I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything the Mexican authorities say. Okay, I just don't. But the timeline of what these little liars are saying, in my opinion, they said the couple had drinks and went to bed. How do you know that? You weren't there. How do you know? Okay. How do you know they had drinks? Were you watching them? Thought there was a lot of noise outside. So this is the part where I wanted you guys to know. Elliot thought there was a lot of noise outside. Okay. So he told his wife that he was going to go out and try to scare away the pigeons. That's where the danger happened, I believe. I don't think he fell from that balcony. My theory is when he went outside, there were people out there, there were criminals out there who had watched them go to that club. They probably were even the ones making the noise to get him to come out. He comes outside, he gets shot in the head, and they stage his body, in my opinion, to make it appear as though he fell from that balcony, when in reality, he was actually shot in the head. That is my opinion about what happened to him. I don't even think he fell from that balcony. I think they shot him in the head, whoever these people were. They probably even robbed him. If he had I don't know if he brought his wallet or whatever he brought out with him or whatever, but they probably robbed him, shot him in the head, staged his body, make it look like he fell. Because the authorities, when they first talked to the to Kim. They told her a crime happened to her husband, that he was murdered, he was shot in the head, and then all of a sudden, I don't know who they talked to in the authorities over there. Maybe whoever did it paid a pretty hefty amount of money. I don't know. Or maybe it's an overall cover-up. But they turned around and changed their story, retracted that, and turned around, and now they're saying this man fell from a balcony because he was intoxicated. Make it make sense. And notice how in their timeline they want to emphasize the couple had drinks. Like really trying to build this story up that this man died because he was drunk, when that's not what happened, in my opinion, based upon what the other witnesses are saying and other people who are saying he wasn't drunk. Then she received a call after midnight about a lifeless body. That was what happened. They determined his body was there. And the wife was asleep at this time, she claimed. Again, I'm not clearing her either because I don't know what really happened with her. But the fact that she's telling the truth and talking about the fact that she was told her husband was shot in the head, to me feels like she's not a part of it. Because she could have just went along with it. If she really was a part of it, she would have went along with it and said, oh yeah, he was drunk and I was asleep and he probably fell. But no, she's actually telling the truth that the authorities told her that her husband was shot in the head. So this is the part where the red flag comes in, guys. Initially, they thought Blair was a victim of a crime. Okay, so they knew he was a victim of the crime, but they wanted to cover it up. They were trying to cover this tragedy up and try to make it look like it wasn't a crime. But you see, this was initially the truth, that he was a victim of a crime. Then they started gathering their story up and said, oh, we can't let this get out that this American was unalived in our country. It's going to hit the news and then nobody's going to come here. Let's just lie and say he fell from the balcony. Okay? Because look at this part. Further investigation, no signs of dispute and or struggle. No, that was a lie. The further investigation part was they talked to whatever head of chief or whatever in their department or whatever. I don't know who it was, but they was like, you can't let this get out that this man was unalived over here. So let's just like retract that and let's just say this man died because he was drunk. He fell off the balcony. Make it make sense. If this man has such a drinking problem, how come there's no evidence of that in America? Wouldn't he have a bunch of DUIs and stuff? People who know him say he doesn't have a drinking problem. The amount of alcohol found in Blair's body was considerable. Okay, that's a lie because they can't verify that information. You know why? Because they embalmed his body to cover up and prevent an ability for the family to make an independent investigation. Okay, that's no evidence. I don't believe anything that these officials say. The red flag that I feel comes into play is the fact that this man went out to go figure out what the noise was. That's where the danger happened. Because the reason why I feel that is what happened, you have to ask yourself, how come Kim was still alive? She was the only one that didn't go outside. He did. And whoever was outside was making that noise to get them to come outside because I feel somebody followed him there. And while Kim was asleep safe in that hotel room, poor Elliot, he went out, and when he went out that room, that's where he met his fate with some person out there who killed him. Probably robbed that man and then staged his body as if he fell from a balcony. I don't think that man fell from no balcony, guys. I think, just like the officials originally said, I think he was unalived. I think he was shot in the head, and they wanted to make it look as though this man fell from the balcony, and now they're trying to cover it up and try to make it look like this man just failed. Okay. But Elliot's wife, she was told by Mexican authorities that husband had a gunshot wound. And that's what she told her family. The wife of California lawyer Elliot Blair was told by police on the scene, you guys, police on the scene. And y'all already know, anybody who has been studying the Shanquella Robinson case, we have a big doubt when it comes to the police in Mexico because with how they handled Shanquellas, So once we see a Mexican police, we are already having questions because of what happened in that case. So the police on the scene, when they came and talked to the wife, they told her that her husband was shot in the head the night he died at a resort in Mexico. Did you see that? Why all of a sudden are they changing it now? They said he was shot in the head. An attorney representing the family told the Post Thursday, And why are they trying to prevent the family from getting the body so they could do their own autopsy? And why did they embalm this man's body without the permission of the parents? Though Mexican officials reportedly deny that assertion. Oh, yeah, of course you do, liars. Y'all lie. We already know you lied because you lied so much in the Shinquella case. The bombshell revelation continued the series of conflicting statements between Blair's grieving family and Mexican authorities into what led to the Orange County Public Defender's death last Saturday at Las Rocasas Resort Spa. Blair's family and friends have insisted that he was the victim of a brutal crime, while Mexican officials have said his death was from an accidental fall from a balcony at the resort. The family has made clear they are conducting their own investigation into their loved one's death with the help of a private investigator. While Blair fell 2 stories before hitting the ground floor, family lawyer said in an interview Thursday, that the family isn't sure what happened in the moments leading up to that. Okay, if he really fell, I don't know. I'm feeling like he was shot in that head like they said. I don't know. She was told that he was shot in the head. Why all of a sudden is the story changing? Why are they retracting their statement now saying he died of alcohol poisoning? Or they always, not alcohol poisoning, but alcohol. They always say alcohol. Elliot Blair's death was declared due to a fall from a window on Saturday, January 14th. Gofundme Barnett said part of the bewilderment stems from Blair's wife, Kimberly Williams, being told by a police that there was a bullet hole in Elliot's head. Did you see that? There was a bullet hole in Elliot's head. And if they had nothing to hide, then why did they embalm this man's body? It's like they're trying, why are they asking the family to cremate him if they have nothing to hide? They should allow, they should do what's right and send the body back, after they pay whatever fees and let them make their own, decision. You don't just go and take your own steps to embalm this man's body without the permission of the family. How dare you? That shows that they're unethical. Gosh, they said there was a bullet hole in his head, y'all. They saw that. Now they're trying to change it up because they don't want to get caught. The couple was celebrating their 1-year anniversary when Blair died. The family attorney also revealed that the district attorney in Mexico ordered the 33-year-old's body to be embalmed. Wow. So the district attorney's involved, guys. We got everybody involved. We got the police officers. We've got the elected district attorney involved in this whole cover-up. He's the one that ordered the body to be embalmed in the first place. Are you hearing this? Am I the only one that's enraged? I feel like I'm the only one that's enraged right now. This case has really captured me in my whole heart. I know I don't get a lot of views on this video, but I need y'all to spread the word on this video to warn your family and friends. Do not go to Mexico. It's not safe. How does the district attorney order this man to be embalmed? What? What was his reasoning? It's like he's trying to cover it up too. He's probably being paid by the authorities involved, the officers and everybody else. He probably get paid under the table. He ordered wow, guys, can you believe this? Which would make it impossible for the family to conduct their own toxicology report. So we got the district attorney involved, the Mexican district attorney involved in covering up this man's death. Wow. I didn't heard it all, guys. I heard it all. I thought at least the district attorney would be the one ethical person involved, but clearly that is not the case. Mexican authorities have also refuted that claim. Oh, whatever. Y'all refute everything. Every time somebody American die in your country, y'all always saying it's alcohol. I'm tired of alcohol. Shoot, and I don't drink a speck of alcohol. So if they try to tell me I died of alcohol poisoning, they are lying. I never even had an alcohol drink in my life, period. After Williams was told about the incident, a family friend near the area came to the scene and interpreted for her. So Kim was lucky she had a family friend come and interpret for her. So she had access to other people in Mexico. So she was lucky. Unlike some of us, we don't have those resources. So she had a family friend come over and interpret for her, said Barnett, who was friends with Blair. And Blair is Hispanic too. So he probably has family and friends from Mexico himself, which is why he felt safe going there, because he has family ties in Mexico. That's why he was so attracted to that area, which makes it even more sad, right? The cop at the scene, the lead investigating officer, he's in plain clothes wearing a badge around his neck, tells Kim that there's a bullet hole in Elliot's head, guys. The cop tells her this. I think his higher ups came and corrected him and said, "You don't tell that American woman that her husband was murdered in Mexico. How dare you? They're gonna scare all the other Americans from coming here. You better change that to say alcohol poisoning or something." Because the officer examined his body, right, and said that there was a bullet hole. A bullet hole in the head is quite different than, you would see his whole skeletal just shatter if he fell. He'd be pretty banged up, but no, they only saw a hole in his head. That sounded like a gunshot bullet to me. And they said, and that kind of starts this whole thing with the violence of it all. And how is it that he says he's going out to check on the noise and all of a sudden now he's dead? That sounds something about the going outside part where he was checking on the noise is what I'm really suspicious of as to, in my opinion, what led to this man's death. Because one of the warnings on the travel advisory, they say don't go outside, don't travel a lot in the nighttime, go during the day. Well, that's at least one of the warnings they were saying to the government employees. So for that part, I would also take that as a warning to general American citizens. If they're warning their own government officials to not go outside at night. And this man, he went out around 1:54 or so in the morning. That could have, had some criminals out there waiting and lurking around to see who they could find that's vulnerable. A spokesman for Baja California. Here we go, guys. We already know what Baja California is with Shanquella. Baja California Attorney General told the Los Angeles Times when officials arrived on the scene and from a following autopsy, there were no signs of violence. BS. Because if there was no signs of violence, Attorney General, because we know about him, y'all, why did you order this man's body to be embalmed? What are you trying to cover up? Because the fact that you hurried up and had this man embalmed further makes the family more suspicious. If you had nothing to hide and you claim this was an accident, then you wouldn't have rushed to get this man's body embalmed. If you claim he died of alcohol poisoning, what is there to hide? What is there to hide? They're showing that they're sketchy. Just sketchy, y'all. This is just, so infuriating. So that's for where we at. Okay. No signs of violence. He also reportedly rejected any evidence of a gunshot wound. Oh, why is it still playing, guys? I keep trying to stop it and it keeps playing. So he says he rejected any evidence of a gunshot wound. Okay, well then why are you trying to get this man cremated? Everything the steps that they're taking shows that they're guilty of something. There would be no need for you to force cremation on this family if you had nothing to hide. You're hiding something. You're a liar, in my opinion. Barnett said when the liaison of the coroner's office contacted the family days later, they told the cause of death was trauma to the head and the death would be referred to prosecutors as suspected homicide. Okay, so why are you trying to lie now then? When the family asked about a gunshot wound, the liaison said the paperwork indicated head trauma, Barnett said. I'm not buying it, guys. I'm not buying it. I'm curious of what you guys think. Do you guys buy it? The gunshot wound allegation is suspicious. The liaison says if it was a gunshot to head, it wouldn't say head trauma. It would say gunshot wound to head, Barnett said, adding, so the family is confused. Again, this sounds similar to what happened to Shanquella. On the police report, they claimed it was accidental death. She died of alcohol poisoning and all that. And come to find out, you look at the death certificate, she had a broken neck and back. So it's like they're continuing with this same pattern of lies. Anytime an American dies in their country, they want to lie. And now they're saying, oh, it was head trauma when before it was a gunshot wound. Come on now. The family plans to have their own autopsy conducted when the body is returned to them, he said. But again, this whole embalming part is problematic. They could have, when they did their own autopsy, they probably took that bullet out too to try to cover it up. Elliot Blair's wife told by Mexican authorities that her husband had a gunshot wound. I'm curious, guys. I'm going to be following this story and doing a lot of updates because when the body is shipped back to America, I really want to find out what results they get from the autopsy. But again, who knows what these officials did? They're taking all these subsequent steps to cover up this crime. The exterior of the Las Rocas Resort and Spa. See, look, the exterior. I feel like he went downstairs and that's where he got attacked. Of the Las Rocas Resort and Spa, where Elliot Blair died on Saturday, January 14th. Barnett said that the family is disappointed. They can't conduct a toxicology report to disprove claims he was intoxicated when he died because he was embalmed. Right, they try to cover that up. Yeah, you strip these family members of ability to prove that he was not intoxicated. The family was told by the mortuary that move was done under prosecutors' orders. And it shows that these prosecutors are just as corrupt, because why would the prosecutor get involved and have it embalmed? That has nothing to do with the investigation. Yeah, then I feel the prosecutor's involved, you guys. The family's obviously devastated because given these strange circumstances, they wanted their own toxicology. Exactly, because according to the wife and according to witnesses on the scene, they all say that he was not intoxicated. But they can't prove that now because the corrupt attorney general over there rushed to have his body embalmed. Why did he, guys have to ask yourself, why did he rush to have that body embalmed? There was no necessity to do that. What was the need to do that? If they're telling the truth, they would have no reason to embalm his body. There's other ways to preserve his body than just embalming him. You can preserve him in other ways. The Baja California AG's office told LA Times, the family obviously devastated because given these strange circumstances, they wanted their own toxicology, he said. They now cannot get their own toxicology because the body has been embalmed. The Baja California AG's office told the LA Times the decision about what to do with the body is a question for the family. Okay. Did you hear this? Did you hear this, guys? The Mexico Attorney General, we know him, the Baja California Attorney General. That's the same guy, Daniel de la Rosa Aña, the same prosecutor that's prosecuting the Shaquella Robinson case. He's shady. He's just demonstrated his corrupt ways by getting this body embalmed. And then he turns around and tells the LA Times that the decision what to do with the body is the question for the family, right? Well, then why did you get the body embalmed? Because that was a decision that was supposed to be left up to the family, not up to you, Daniel de la Rosa Aña. How dare you make that elected decision? He's saying, he's speaking conflicting words. He's saying it's the family's decision, but then he turns around, guys, and he makes the decision for the family. Corrupt. I'm just saying this corrupt. I know he was probably going to say the reason why he did it was to preserve the body, but there's other ways to do that, especially when you're alleging that this man died because he was drunk. Then you should have just preserved the body another way so that this parents could do their own investigation. There's questions of whether he was intoxicated. So that would have given a logical reason for them not to embalm his body. But for him to rush to do that, to me, sounds kind of shady. Now, Mr. Attorney General, the Mexican Attorney General, says he stressed to the newspaper that authorities would not suggest that a body be embalmed without permission from the family. Okay, but the family is saying they didn't give you permission. Look at this, guys. Now he's literally, this Attorney General is lying on the parents. The parents say they didn't give him a permission. Why are he trying to lie and make it sound like they gave authority to do that? Guys, this is the same prosecutor that's prosecuting Dejanay and the Cabo Six. So if we can't trust him with another American, how are we going to trust him to really fully prosecute the Cabo Six? Okay, there's just no trust. He's showing his corruption right here in this case and literally lying on this family. Very shady, guys. The family previously contended that Mexican officials suggested Blair's body be cremated. See, they wanted to further get the body cremated. They really was trying to cover up this crime. Barnett also shed more light on another set of differing statements between police and Blair's relatives. And look, this is a picture of Elliot with his beautiful mother here. Elliot's wife told by Mexican authorities. So this picture right here is sad. It's him with his mom. It's so sad. And then that's him on more brighter days. This is just a very horrific case that this man, his life was cut short prematurely because he went to one of the dangerous prohibited places in Mexico where travel advisory said, don't go. I know y'all want to go on vacation. There's other places you can go, y'all. You don't have to go to Mexico. Y'all could go to other places where it's more safe. And if they're not going to advocate for you and you have all this corruption going on, like we see in Mexico with these two Americans, Shanquella and Elliot, guys, and there's other Americans too that I talked about on my channel with the carbon monoxide poisoning too. So we're at least at, I'm gonna count all my cases, we're at 6 cases already, and there's probably more that just haven't been publicized. They're keeping those under the rug. So I'm just saying. Elliot Blair's family shed new light on the Orange County lawyer's death. The Attorney General of Baja California, which is Daniel de la Rosa Anya. Well, I think they have another Attorney General on this one, guys. I see another name down there. Strike what I said about the name. They said the Attorney General reportedly said Blair fell to his death when he went outside to shoo away pigeons outside his hotel room. Okay, so that's what the Attorney General is saying, that he fell to his death when he went outside to shoo away pigeons outside his hotel room. I don't know. How would he fall? I don't know. Did he reach over and shoo? Officials said Williams told investigators Blair was drawn to the noisy birds, a claim the family denied to the Orange County Register. Okay. You guys, now I got to strike the whole pigeon story, because that story, you know who that's coming from? That's not coming from Kim. It's coming from the Mexican authorities. So we can't believe that either, because where'd they get this information from? How they know he went out to, were they sitting there watching him in his hotel room? Like, how do they know he went out to shoo away these pigeons? I thought that was a statement from the wife. Come to find out, based upon this article, that's a statement from the Mexican authorities that he went out to shoo away these. They made up all, guys, they fabricated an entire story about this man's death. They just made it up. They made the whole story up, talking about he went outside his hotel to shoo away pigeons. I wish Elliot was alive to say what really happened. It just frustrates me when people pass away, they don't get to tell what really happened. Officials said Williams told investigators Blair was drawn to noisy birds, a claim the family denied to the Orange County. So they're lying. They're saying that Kim told them that Elliot went outside because of the loud noise, but Kim is saying she didn't even say that. So they're lying on her. Barnett said Williams was talking to the family friend on the scene about how he scared the pigeons off during the day from their 3rd floor hotel room at the Las Rocasas Resort Spa. He believes the Attorney General took that statement to mean he was shooing away pigeons off that night before his death. Okay, so they totally misinterpreted what Kim said. Kim was referring to what happened during the day, during daylight hours, before they went to the little club to dance, before they had any drinks, that he had gone to shoo away some pigeons. This is where the language barrier comes into place. The Attorney General misunderstood her and put that into the facts to claim that Elliot went outside that night, when that's not what happened. So we can at least say that the Attorney General misinterpreted what she said. Okay. Baja California Attorney General Ricardo Iván Carpio Sanchez. Okay. So this is a different Attorney General, guys. So strike what I said. I thought it was Daniel de la Rosa Anya, but it's not. There's a different Attorney General that's on this case, and his name is Ricardo Iván Carpio Sanchez. Okay, so this is a whole different Attorney General. So strike what I said. I don't know if Daniel de la Rosa is unethical or not, because he is not involved in this investigation. Ricardo Iván Carpio Sanchez is. And Ricardo said his death was originally probed as a criminal case, the LA Times reported. An examination of his body found no visible injuries of a gun or sharp object, he reportedly said. Well, then why did the officer tell Kim that he saw a gunshot hole in this man's hand? A hole. That's not consistent with somebody falling. If you see a gunshot hole in his head. Barnett said the pair were in the room together after returning from a night out, but Williams fell asleep before Blair did. So Kim says she was asleep. Blair was supposed to be in the shower, so she don't know what happened. Barnett said Williams was originally woken up by hotel staff about her husband's death. Oh my gosh, guys, I really want to know what happened to this man, guys. This is so horrific. Like, when she was asleep, did he go out to go get something or something? Did he encounter somebody? This is crazy, guys. So she sleeps, she gets woken up by the hotel staff about her husband's death. Then she called out for help, but hotel workers told her an ambulance was already there a couple hours ago, and he was dead with police now on the way, he said. Oh my gosh. It remains unclear what Blair was doing prior to his death, Barnett said. And that's the mystery. I really want to know what he was doing. What was he doing, guys? That's like the big $1 million question. They said, we don't know what he was doing out there, Barnett said of Blair. We're trying to find out. And that's the thing, guys. They probably destroyed all the video surveillance that could tell us that answer. And we're never going to know. That's the unforgiving part of this, guys, is we don't know why he went outside. I mean, maybe he went out to go grab a bite or something. I don't know. You know, he probably stayed up later and met his fate. Mexican. I'm going to show you guys this video I showed you before because I feel this video is very monumental. Now, it relates to femicides in Mexico. But one of the key things I want you to pay attention to is the reasoning that they keep deferring to for why these women are dying. They're women that are beat to death over there and stuff like that. Instead of telling the truth, they keep trying to say the woman was drunk. And I'm starting to see a pattern with these deaths that they're also associating alcohol affiliated deaths with Americans. For example, Shanquella. And then subsequently, now we have this beautiful soul here, Elliot, who was so full of life, guys, is now gone. So I want you to listen to this video. I've talked about it before, but I have a lot of new subscribers, so I want you guys to hear it also. And hold on, let me just pull it up for y'all before I start babbling on. Okay. Pay close attention to the words.
It is okay to be so stressed and overwhelmed that you feel like you need to talk to therapy. Lately, the
carrying what prosecutors say is it's the cries we've heard before. Hundreds demanding justice for yet another woman killed in Mexico. This time for Ariadna Lopez, known as Ari, a mother to a 5-year-old, found dead earlier this month in what family and protesters are now saying could be a femicide. The 27-year-old went missing on October 30th. Her body later found by a group of cyclists on the side of a highway in the state of Morelos, just south of Mexico City.
Que aclaren la verdad. Ni ellos, ni ustedes, ni nosotros, ni alguien nos puede contar qué realmente fue lo que pasó.
Initially, the state's attorney's office claims she died as a result of excessive alcohol consumption.
Exactly. Did you hear that? This woman's body was found on the side of the highway, right? Beaten to death. She was beaten to complete death. And the attorney general, they go back with that same little fake reason. She died of alcohol intoxication. That's their go-to. Every time somebody dies in Mexico, it has to be related to alcohol. That's a problem. You guys should see that. That's a huge red flag because not everybody dies for the same reason. Something's not right about this allegation of alcohol.
Office claims she died as a result of excessive alcohol consumption, a claim her family was quick to dispute because they say her body had scratches and bruises.
A petición y con el consentimiento de la familia de Ariadna, solicitamos la realización de una nueva necropsia.
All of this triggering an investigation by Mexico City prosecutors, who later determined the real cause of death was, quote, multiple force trauma. The new investigation pushing prosecutors to call it a possible cover-up.
Si no hubiera entrado la Fiscalía General de Justicia en la Ciudad de México, este feminicidio hubiera quedado impune.
Exactly. Did you hear that? The authorities involved in even the deaths of Mexican women in Mexico, they are engaged in possible cover-ups claiming alcohol poisoning when this woman had scratches all over her and bruises all over her. And there is a systematic cover-up in these deaths. So if they're covering up certain homicides of their own citizens, how much more do you think they're not going to be covering up the various homicides of Americans who come there on vacation? Listen up, guys. Listen up. This is a huge problem.
Mexico City's mayor, Claudia Sheinbaum, pointing the finger at the Morelos Attorney General's office.
Se le victimice, se le menosprecie y se encubra un feminicidio.
And during a national press conference, the mayor releasing security footage showing a man who claimed to be Lopez's friend carrying what prosecutors say is her body from a Mexico City apartment.
Ella ya sin vida.
The Attorney General for Morelos, quote,
Wow, guys. So the mayor is calling out the Attorney General for his corruption, trying to cover up this homicide of the woman because he's apparently friends with the man who unalived the girl. Can you believe this? Yeah, this is ongoing in Mexico. So, yeah, if they're doing it to their own citizens, y'all, how much more are they not going to do it to American citizens? Okay, you got the Attorney General himself who's trying to cover up a crime of his own friend.
Categorically denies the accusations, saying they lack any evidence, and denies knowing one of the two people who've been arrested in connection to her death. One man turned himself in and has denied allegations against him. The state of Morelos, where Lopez was found, has one of the highest rates of femicide in the country. Last year, there were over 1,000 officially ruled cases.
Que tenemos 88 contados en lo que va del año del 2022. Nosotras contabilizamos 88 feminicidios aquí en Morelos.
Tonight, the calls of justice continue. Even with two people in custody, her family insists they will continue to fight until someone is held accountable for Ari's death.
No dejen que no den carpetazo como muchas mujeres y vamos a hacer el ruido que debamos de hacer.
Okay, Marissa joins us now live from D.C. tonight. So, Marissa, Mexico City's mayor has openly pointed fingers at the Attorney General in Morelos. There's an investigation now into those allegations. What is he saying tonight?
So those are pretty serious allegations against him, and they're ones that the Attorney General is categorically denying, and he's saying there's no basis for this. So it's important to note, Tom, that the Mexico City mayor has not offered any proof, if there is proof that exists out there, but we do know that there is an investigation into the initial investigation as to whether this was botched intentionally. But regardless, Tom, as we saw with the protests, this is certainly sparking a lot of attention and outrage across the country. So there's a lot of pressure to get to the bottom of this.
Right, guys. This is a huge cover up. And we got government officials in Mexico, everybody in conspiracy to cover up these crimes. And what makes it so alarming is you see it happening to their own citizens. So you think they're going to treat an American citizen any better? Okay, like y'all have so many beautiful, right? Like Brandon said, come on, FBI. Exactly. The FBI is saying they can't do anything about anything. So it's like the families on their own. Right. Like Shirley said, every time a woman dies, it's always the same reason. That should be a red flag to you. And now we got this American citizen. He goes there and all of a sudden they claim he died from alcohol poisoning. Make it make sense, y'all. You got to start seeing all the red flags that is going on. They probably want to cremate because they don't want to show the gunshot wound. Also clean away gunpowder residue, all that evidence. Shaking my head. Right, Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, love. Exactly. Oh my gosh. This is really alarming. This, I'm telling you guys, we got to talk about this because I just don't want to see anyone else die, man. I hope people really look at this case and just reconsider, go travel somewhere else. I thought he was Alyssa, that he was the same one, but he's not. He's another attorney general. But he's still from Baja California. Yeah, you're right. He's not the same one that gave the order from what I read. I saw another name. You're right, Alyssa. You're right. Girl, I found that out after the fact. So you're right. It's not Daniel de la Rosa. It is a different attorney general, but he's still in Baja California. Mexico has good, kind citizens. It's the corrupt government and police officials. Yeah, I'm not saying about the citizens. I'm just saying based upon the travel advisories it's not safe right now for American citizens. I'm not saying anything about Mexican citizens at all. Don't get it twisted, because a lot of people always like to misconstrue people's words. I'm just saying, as it stands, based upon the U.S. travel advisories and some of the deaths of Americans and how they're not being fully investigated, based upon the corruption in the government and police officials, it's not safe to go there, because even if something does happen to you there, the Mexican government and officials are not going to, be ethical in their investigations. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Please don't get it twisted. I love my Mexican families and friends. I have a lot of close Mexican family and friends from Mexico, and I have nothing against Mexico, period. But I'm just saying, as it stands, it's not safe, guys. It's just not safe. We got the U.S. website, government website saying don't go there. So, I mean, the very place that this beautiful family went to, there was warnings to not go to that area because of the crime and kidnappings. So that's a huge red flag. Y'all got to listen to those travel advisories. If you're going to travel somewhere, guys, look at the website, the travel advisory. Go to the website, travel.state.gov. Go there and look up the place you're going to see what are the travel advisories. Okay. For example, they have a travel advisory for Russia, travel advisory that was issued October 4, 2022. They said, do not travel and leave immediately. For China, they have a health alert that was issued December 28th. It says negative COVID test requirement. So that is a very important website. Here, let me show you the screen again. I'm going to share my screen where this website is. This is a very important website that you need to be visiting before you decide to travel anywhere, even if it's not Mexico. You need to come to travel.state.gov, the U.S. Department of State, and look up the country where you're planning to go before you decide to make your next trip, because a lot of people don't visit this website and then they end up endangering themselves. And once you leave the U.S., a lot of those protections that you're afforded in U.S., you don't really have that there. You see what the U.S. officials said about Mexico. They said the U.S. government has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in many areas of Mexico because travel by U.S. government employees to certain areas is prohibited or restricted. They're telling you, look, we can't help you if you go to these areas where even our own government employees are not allowed to go because of the huge danger. So you're not going to have the protection of the U.S. government to help you in those situations. So you got to make sure you know where you're going and you're really looking at this information. Please, guys, because I don't want to see nobody else die. I just don't. Hi, amazing tribe. Hi, love. Happy Friday. I hope you had a wonderful birthday. Right. Shirley said, she said even the Native women that are found are victims or alleged victims of alcohol poisoning. Right, Shirley. Everybody and their mama. That's a huge red flag. You should already know something's wrong. Okay. Right. Alyssa Hendry. Hi. I just love Alyssa. Alyssa Hendry says military personnel has been told not to travel to Mexico. That speaks volumes. Right. Mic drop on what she said. Mic drop. If they're telling you not to go there, you need to listen. If the Mexican military personnel can't go there, why do you think you can go there? The U.S. officials are not going to be able to rescue you or give you emergency treatment if you need it, if you go to these areas where they can't even go. So here is the website. Please, you guys, go to this website before you decide to go anywhere. That's even if it's not Mexico, guys. Even if it's not Mexico, just do a quick search on this website, see what they're telling you about the country. And you got to protect yourself, y'all. Life is too short, guys. It's too short, and we got to really use some precaution. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to this tragedy, man. I'm going to keep this case in the forefront. We're going to keep figuring out what happened. So I will be doing more follow-ups, guys, because we got to figure out how they handle this case, because this is really sad, y'all. Really, really sad. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this case. Please let me know. Please be kind in the comments, and please do not refer to any other YouTubers in the comment section, and have a lovely weekend. All right. Take care, lovely people.